right, now welcome to the stage the new District 5 Councilman Daniel Valenzuela.
Thank you. To my wife, Sonia, and our children, Daniel and Danielle, who, along with my faith, is the very foundation of my life. Mayor Stanton, who I know is going to be a great mayor, and that's in the interest of all of us as Phoenicians. My colleagues on the council, Thelda, Jim, Bill, Tom, Sal, Michael, and Michael, who I will learn so much from, and I'm anxious to do so. Former Mayor Phil Gordon, and my predecessor, Councilman Claude Maddox, who has served our city so well. All of you gathered here today, and of course, the people of the great city of Phoenix, welcome. Abraham Lincoln's significant role in both the history of our nation as well as the history of Arizona is without question. Among his notable achievements, it was Lincoln that granted Arizona territorial status on February 24, 1863, ultimately leading to statehood 50 years later. In just 42 days, we will mark our centennial when Arizona became the 48th state in the Union. Some 10 months after signing the Arizona Organic Act, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, one of the greatest oratory works in our history. Delivered at a time when our nation was facing great peril, Lincoln's challenge was not only to mark the dedication of a national cemetery, honoring soldiers who made the supreme sacrifice as they defended the Union just 4 months earlier, but to also begin the process of healing a divided nation. In Lincoln's time before sound bites and coverage by TV news, it was not only normal that speeches by political leaders take 1, 2, maybe even 3 hours, but it was expected. In fact, the featured speaker at the Gettysburg ceremony was not Lincoln, but former Harvard University president and noted orator of his day, Edward Everett. Everett spoke for over 2 hours, accepting thunderous and long applause from the assembled audience when he concluded. And following Everett, Lincoln spoke, but for only 2 minutes. Lincoln's Gettysburg Address consisted of just 10 sentences, only 271 words. When he finished, the crowd was stunned by the brevity of his speech, yet they were so moved and so awed by Lincoln's message, they at first remained silent. Ultimately, they offered an almost forced but polite applause. Lincoln at first did not understand the reaction of the audience. As he took his seat on the stage, he remarked to Everett that he obviously failed in his intent to deliver a message appropriate for the solemn occasion. "Mr. President," said Everett, "I should be glad if I could flatter myself that I came as near to the central idea of the occasion in 2 hours as you did in 2 minutes." Now, I don't pretend to be a speaker the caliber of Abraham Lincoln. So with that, I ask you to indulge me. Indulge me as I deliver this 2-hour speech. Our world, our nation, our community, we live in a challenging time, and while it obviously pales in comparison to the Civil War that placed the very existence of our nation in jeopardy, it has placed unprecedented divisions between all of us. Our war on terror now enters the second decade. The Middle East, particularly Iran and Syria, at this moment are hotspots on our planet that threaten to engulf peace-loving nations. On the national level, there has been no time in modern history where the partisan divide has led not only to polarization, but some would say a paralysis of our federal government and the inability to solve real problems. Here in our own Maricopa County, we watch as county elected officials use our money to prosecute and sue one another. We hear of the sharp divide between those who look to government for all their solutions and those who blame government for all their problems. Republicans versus Democrats, unions versus management. And still in this day, 146 years after Lincoln led us through a war, the result of prejudice and inequality, we still see so-called leaders that divide us by race rather than seek to unite us a common people. Phoenix has become the great city it has, in part because unlike the dysfunction and even paralysis we see in other government institutions, our city works. We are a city of rich diversity. I am honored to be one of 2 Latinos on this body, the first time that has ever occurred in the history of Phoenix. But what makes me even more proud, ethnicity never mattered in the election that placed me here in this seat today, as I was humbled at the support of the majority vote in virtually every neighborhood of our diverse district. Phoenix has been recognized as a best-run city and achieved All-American City status because my colleagues and those that have preceded them have been aggressive and innovative. We have invested in our infrastructure while other communities fail to maintain theirs. We've been bold, seeking emerging economic development opportunities and the jobs they create. And most notably, we've been scandal-free, while other communities are too often in the headlines because those awarded the public's trust use it to enrich themselves. And all this has been made possible because Phoenix and those who preceded me on this body and those who continue to serve that I joined today have pursued a common agenda, a common mission. Working together, they have pursued lofty goals. Working together, they have realized great dreams. And today, our city, that was but a dusty outpost of 150 residents on the day of President Lincoln's assassination, is now the 6th largest city in our country. So today, I commit myself to serve in that same spirit of those who have preceded me. As a member of this body, I will seek the common ground. I will seek consensus, and I will seek compromise. And I will maintain the respect we should all have for each other in our willingness to contribute to our great city as we fulfill our obligation to those who have entrusted us with the responsibility of public office. At City Hall, in the council chambers, on this body, we can disagree, and we will disagree. But we can do so without being disagreeable. Whether it is Greg Stanton or had it been any one of his worthy opponents sitting here on this stage taking the oath today, my message would be the same. The election is over. Now let's all get behind our new mayor. To my colleagues, I would offer that there be no bad ideas, only ideas we can build upon and improve. Let's be a forum for ideas and resolution, not a place for polarizing debate, because in the final analysis, we have more in common than we have in difference. We live in the same city. We value the future that our children will inherit from us. And we all have a desire in our own and perhaps different ways to keep Phoenix strong and make it the best city it can be. Okay, so let's get to work. Thanks, and God bless you.
Thank you, Councilman Valenzuela. You have another 2 hours to go, though. You cut it kind of short there. I'm actually thinking you guys could have listened to him for about 2 hours. Very engaging.